Next up is the Honda Classic Marketing Initiative. Charlie?
Good evening, Council. One of the things that I'm going to talk about tonight is the Honda Classic, and part of the reason why they like being here is exactly what our chief displayed tonight. So that is a winner for our community. As you know, the Honda Classic is an international event that attracts some of the top golfers in the world. And as we heard tonight, not committed through Honda, but through the Palm Beach Post, Tiger Woods is committed for the Classic coming up. One of the things that we've been trying to do is work with our Honda Classic.
Before, did you just say he was committed?
It was on the post as about 6 o'clock tonight.
So he committed to it?
Yep. And so we're going to have some of the top golfers here.
No, I knew he was basically coming, but I knew he didn't commit, so that's okay. I want the press to get it.
As reported. As reported. So
that's great news.
It is great news. And again, just it really reflects on the community as a whole, especially when you talk about our police and fire services and the community. And one of the things that I want to highlight for you tonight and give you a presentation on is a marketing partnership that we have created with the Honda Classic to leverage the international exposure that the event brings to our city and to just get across the Gardens lifestyle and bring that out and promote our community. One of the things that we've done with the Honda Classic is try to increase the awareness that we are the host city of the Classic. That means that the City of Palm Beach Gardens puts forth its best effort to put that on an international stage, and we want people to know that. So this year, to start that off, what we've done is we've created this logo that you see here on the bottom, and that is a grant from the Classic to use the words host city. So they've allowed us to combine our name with their image to promote our city. The other thing that you're going to see throughout our city is this sign. You know we have these monument signs throughout the community. We're going to be doing this during the Honda Classic, so when the spectators arrive in our city, they're going to know where they're at, and they're going to know what city is hosting this. Additionally, a few other things that are going on is inclusion in the Honda Classic magazine. This is the magazine that is distributed at the tournament, and we get 2 pages in there at no cost to us. One is a welcome letter from the mayor, from all of you, and then also we get a page to do a marketing ad, and it looks like this. And each year we've got to do this, but as you can see, we're trying to promote the Gardens lifestyle. And this is given out, as I said, at the tournament. So hopefully we'll reach a lot of those international visitors. Also, some things that we're doing is, and this is very exciting, we have a connection from the Honda Classic webpage to our city webpage. This is very unique because when you go through all the PGA tournaments, there's only about 2 or 3 cities that get this kind of recognition on the PGA pages. So I'm going to show it to you how it works. Now, this is the Honda Classic page, so if you're a spectator, you pull up this page, and we are now on this page in 2 locations. When you scroll all the way to the bottom, down here are all the prominent partners of the Honda Classic, and as you can see, our shield is there. That was by the suggestion of the Honda staff to thank us for our partnership. If you click on that, it will take you to a new gateway page. Also, when you go up here to spectator info, you will see the City of Palm Beach Gardens has been added. Now, when you click on that, it takes you to a brand new gateway page. Our hope is it looks a little bit like golf, it looks a little bit like the Honda page. It attracts people in to see where our community is. It scrolls through 8 different pictures that depict our community. Has some information here about our community in general. Down here, live, learn, work, and play, as our saying is, and those click right into our city webpage. So this is a great connection, and it is very unique because, like I said, there's only about 2 other PGA Tour events that actually have this kind of connection back to their host community. Next is on-site recognition and connection to the media. What you'll see this year when the spectators arrive is there will be a welcome sign, welcomes them to the City of Palm Beach Gardens, and again, announces us as the host city. And the Honda Classic staff is working very hard to connect us with the international media that is showing up for the tournament. In fact, on Monday, for the first time, we're going to be participating in their media day. So that's a great privilege. Also, we've put together an Experience the Garden video which will go to the media that shows up for the Honda Classic. And our hope is that they will cut footage out of that to drop into their televised shows when they have gaps of time that they need to fill. It's pre-prepared, it's HD video, and it's ready for them to utilize. Also, this video is going to be shown on the buses as the spectators are transported in from the different sites. And what I'd like to do is play this for you. Let me just get it all set up.
Host city to the Honda Classic and home to the PGA of America, Palm Beach Gardens is a vibrant Florida community with a year-round sunny disposition and lush tropical ambiance that celebrates the quality of life by fostering an environment of excellence. In the city known simply as the Gardens, residents have access to 14 golf courses, art and cultural opportunities, fine shopping areas, and an array of culinary choices for every taste. Palm Beach Gardens offers an outstanding range of public and private schools for exceptional training and high-quality education. The city's proactive business climate embraces innovation and provides an atmosphere for business prosperity. Experience the Gardens lifestyle. Live, learn, work, and play in our signature city, Palm Beach Gardens, Florida.
I won't embarrass them, but I'm sure you saw a couple people in there you recognize as our models. One of the other things that I want to highlight tonight, which is very important to the Honda Classic, and it means so much to our community, is how they partner to better our community. The Honda Classic, through their ESPN Golf Exchange radio show, has been actively promoting our city's green market. They've done on-site televising from there, and also they brought out a golf swing tent, which promotes the idea of golf to the community. They're also giving back to our youth athletic leagues. This year, you know, they will be using the Will Call will be using one of the facilities at PGA National Park. That facility is in need of a little bit of upgrading. At the cost of the Honda Classic, the interior is going to be renovated. It's going to be used for Will Call, and when it's done, it'll be in perfect shape for our youth athletic league to use. Also, the Birdies for Children program. You've heard about it for many years. I was told today that they're well over $500,000 for this program, earning in sponsorships. Right now, about $45,000 of that $500,000 are committed directly to foundations and charities and schools right here in our city limits. And that's big money when you're talking about a high school or the Police Foundation or Give a Child a Smile Foundation. So that is directly giving back to our kids. Lastly, the Birdies for Braves. This program is in partnership with a few of our community businesses, United Technologies, Pratt & Whitney, and Sikorsky Aircraft. This program highlights our veterans at the tournament, giving them special amenities, and then afterwards, providing them with various programs that they can participate in with their families. And this is spearheaded by Honda Classic, but we really want to mention these three community businesses because they've really stepped forward this year to make this happen. Basically, what I've got to say is we are the host city of the Honda Classic. We're very proud of it, and there's been a great group of staff that have been putting these ideas and initiatives together, and we're going to work hard to make sure that everyone that visits our community understands that they're in Palm Beach Gardens. I'd be happy to answer any questions if there's any.
Any questions for Charlotte?
You know, it's a great job. I'd like to compliment staff on putting this together with the staff of the Honda Classic. I mean, Ken Kennerly and Ed McEnroe, with the support of the board and the Nicholas family, have stepped this event up to second to none. You know, you mentioned Tiger Woods. You know, there's the Phil Mickelson, who hasn't officially committed. Okay, he does have it on the schedule, and I think if he plays okay this week without injuring his back, which I guess has been a little tender, I think he'll play. The field of this year's Honda Classic will probably be, if everybody plays that we're expecting to play, will probably be the best field of a non-major or WGC event anywhere. So all the PGA Tour events, this one, okay, except for the Masters and the events like that, which you got the 4 majors and then the 4 WGC events, we will be by far, okay, the best tournament, I mean, with the best field. And that's what people come to. And it's just a credit to the organization that Ken and Ed have built, and the PGA National, the owners there, a partnership with Honda. You know, I only wish every city could experience what this is. I mean, this is a win-win, second to none. The exposure we get nationally, internationally, no matter where I go, and I tell people I'm from Palm Beach Gardens, the Honda Classic, they all know it. I mean, the exposure we're getting on television, we couldn't buy that exposure. And at the end of the day, there's over $2 million that are going to charities. You mentioned the birdies. The birdies last year were over 800,000. They'll probably be that high this year, if not more. And for people that don't know what that is, that's where a charity sells a chance for $20 where you guess the amount of birdies there are in the tournament. Well, the charities get back all that they've sold plus 10%, and it's for winning a car. So this is a great way for charities to raise money, and from the Honda Classics perspective, it has the community engage the event. But this is an event that I'm so excited and so proud of, because we almost lost it 7, 8 years ago. And to the credit of the Nicholas family keeping it in, and we're just so fortunate to have Jack and Barbara Nicholas here in our community and involved. We have an event that's second to none. We have charities that are receiving over $2 million a year. We have a children's hospital here on PGA Boulevard. Without the Honda Classic, we'd never have that. So I want to credit staff, and I know we've supported the event for all those years, and you've worked harder to make it better. I'd like to thank Ken and Ed and their organization. And they're here all year long, as you well know. They're involved, we mentioned, okay, the golf tournament, the mayor's golf tournament. They're involved in everything in the city, and it's a 12-month sponsorship that they have in partnership with the city. So I want to thank you and thank them. It's something that I plan to report on, because I wanted to talk a little bit about, but you even went up to me with Tiger. I didn't know he could. I was hoping he was going to commit by Monday, which is the media day, and that's what I was hoping for. But I guess he committed a little earlier, so
It's
that's
unofficial. It's in the newspaper, not on the Honda website.
Oh, okay. Then
The
he
news
didn't.
reported
Then he didn't
he committed.
officially commit.
He said it in a press conference.
Okay, he said it. Yeah. So where we are with him is we are with Nicholson. And for all, to credit Tiger, Tiger has always said that when he moved here, he would play. And when he moved here, he's played 2 years, and you know, athletes have so much pressure on them, and I want to credit Tiger for being a great member of this community, because a lot more we are able to realize because he plays. He's a big draw, and Phil Mickelson will also be the same. I mean, not to mention Adam Scott, go on and on to the top 10. Anyway, thank you.
Any other questions for Charlotte? Any other comments? And Joe, we should thank you as well.
Great job, thank you.
You've been on that foundation board since the beginning, right?
Yeah, I was on the old foundation board and then this board, and you know, there was tough days, and I remember calling the president of America Honda when the road was a little rough and saying, you know, we have to, and I was the mayor at the time, I said, we want this event in the city. A combination of again, a lot of different people, we were able to keep the event, keep Honda's involvement, because their involvement is what they do, and just, it's unbelievable the money they give us to have this event. So yeah, it was tough, and I'll tell you something, it just showed up here one day, and we were lucky enough to have it. But the hard work was keeping it when the road got a little rough, when it was leaving Marisol, where was it going to go, and how was it going to be, and so forth. And luckily it was all put together. But big ace in the hole we had were the Nicholas family, Jack and Barbara Nicholas. There's not a better respected couple in professional golf than those two. They're just, and like I've always said, Jack, for as great a golfer Jack is, he's an even better person, and what he's done for kids, not only this community up in Ohio. I mean, he's just a giver his whole life.
Well, thank you for your efforts as well. Staff, thank you. Charlotte, everybody, it's phenomenal. So we look forward to another great event, and probably a record-setting event. Next up, we have items of resident interest board committee reports. And Eric, you want to start? You good? All right, we'll start with David. Sorry about it.
Just one thing that I wanted to report. I attended a League of Cities meeting, and
the executive board discussed something I thought I need to bring to your attention, and that is the state of amicus briefs filed by the league on behalf of individual cities who request those. The Policies and Procedures Committee has been looking at those, and at first they were going to completely eliminate them, which from my viewpoint, I think that that's an important function that the league has. That did not happen, and actually we threw it back to the Policies and Procedures Committee to specify a time frame that these have to be filed by, have to be requested by, and also to see if there's a chance for financial remuneration from the individual city back to the league for the filing of the brief. I personally was opposed to that because when these briefs are filed, they're filed for cases that deal with all of the cities, issues that deal with all of the cities. One of these issues is that when the Foster's Pub was annexed into North Palm Beach, they were closing at 5 p.m. or 5 a.m. according to county rules. But when they were annexed in under the town of Village of North Palm Beach, then they were required to close at 2 a.m. Foster's Pub sued the village, saying that they should be grandfathered in. Of course, this could happen to any city. So the League of Cities did file an amicus brief, which cost $5,000 to the league. But North Palm Beach, in my opinion, paid a great deal more than the League of Cities did in defending that suit, which benefits all of the cities. So I just want to make sure, because I went ahead and stated my opinion that the league, that's part of what the league's mission is to support cities and when it supports all of us. And I want to make sure that I get clarification from the council that you feel the same that I do. Otherwise, I'll change my status.
Any comments from David on that?
Have you discussed that with staff?
I actually discussed it with Max's boss, Trilla White. She had called me up on that, so I assume that that's okay from your viewpoint too, but I have not actually discussed it with Max.
Yeah, I'd just be interested in staff's comments.
Right, that's what I was going to ask.
And they can bring them back next meeting.
Yeah.
Well, I'm more than happy to tell you, I think it is an important function that the league serves, because typically when somebody makes a request to the Palm Beach County League of Cities that their general counsel join in and file an amicus brief, because it's a friend of the court. What you're doing is you're writing a supplemental brief to support one side of the argument. And typically what it does is then the league serves to come in alongside of on behalf of the municipality or the government entity that's facing this legal challenge, because especially when it's an item of general applicability, like David was saying, when you've got an item that may may happen to this municipality this time, but then could easily come forward and be something that you could be dealing with. And it becomes important because when these court cases get decided, especially when they get up to like the 4th District Court of Appeal, that typically becomes binding precedent throughout the state. Because if you don't have a case in controversy in one of the other district courts throughout the state, that if only, like, say, our district has passed an opinion on it, that's binding throughout the state until another PCA issues an opinion in controversy. So it's effectively a Supreme Court case until that's what it carries the same weight. So it becomes very, very important because it can have wide-reaching impact and effect on all 38 of our municipalities. So I mean, it is a valuable resource and I think a very beneficial service that the league can provide and should be providing on behalf of the cities.
All right, I still have to get something in the memo or something from you, board discussion before the next council meeting, just to go through it all. Is that okay? Everybody on meetings? Okay. All right, Dave, thank you for the information. Marcy?
Well, since our last meeting, this is kind of a good segue from what we just heard from our staff. We all, I believe, attended the EMS, fire, and police training simulation open house this past month, and that was really nice to see representatives of our city and also representative of all the communities that have given back to the city, and they got to see what their donations went towards. And it was also quite an eye-opener to see what our first responders trained for. And that was, I think, it's amazing to see the integral part of our city and our community and how the residents and everybody came together to make that event occur. So thank you guys for that. That was quite an eye-opening experience. We attended the State of this County address hosted by the North Chamber. Thank you, Beth. That was very good. We also attended the 25th anniversary celebration of the Gardens Mall. And that was also a spectacular event where the Gardens Mall, here we talk about giving back. The Forbes company gave $125,000 to local charities for their 25th anniversary. And what a blessing it is to have all of our businesses give back to our community. So thank you so much for that. And that was a beautiful event. I also attended our Parks and Rec Advisory Board meeting this past month. We discussed the past budget, educated the advisory board as to the future projects, including Mirasol Park. We went over the impact fee dollars that we've received in the past, the grant, and also discussed possible grant opportunities for the future. We had a really nice history of where our parks were 10 years ago to what they were today, and we've really come a long way with our parks and the quality. We talk about quality of life, and that's one big part of quality of life. In addition to that, I attended the last NCNC meeting where Kim Delaney gave a very informative presentation of the FECI project again, and Nick from our MPO, or the director of the MPO, was also there and gave a brief description of what the MPO's job is and what they do for our county. I'm sure a lot of people have read in the paper about the lowest crime, which we heard the presentation, and I do want to thank our police and staff and everybody that works together, because there's a lot that goes into that we heard, and we all benefit from it. So thank you very much for all of your hard work. In addition, Treasure Coast Regional Planning Council, we had that meeting also in January, and we voted to start having meetings every month because there was such an awful lot put into one agenda. We were there for 5, 6, 7 hours, and we decided that instead of meeting every other month, we were going to meet for every month now. So going forward, we're going to start meeting, Treasure Coast is going to start meeting monthly. And then today, most of us attended the Scripps 10th anniversary event, another wonderful event that we heard of. And it's mind-boggling, the things that Scripps is doing for all of us, the scientific studies that are being done for our brain, looking into our brain and looking into finding all these cures for all of us. And that was another eye-opener today, and I'm very glad I had the opportunity to go because that was a great event. That's it.
I was hoping to have the opportunity of reporting on that, but of course Marcy goes first and she gets to report on everything. I figured you were going to miss something, but you know.
I'll scratch.
Yeah, that was a fantastic event. You know, they came in from California, and the heads of Scripps, and to have that right here in our backyard, eventually in our yard, is just something that, again, we spoke about a few months ago when they had the breakfast, but this was the luncheon, and they wanted to honor all the donors that they gave them a lot of money and so forth, and that money's going to bring us cures to things that we so desperately need. So that's something that's. One other thing about the Honda, and when you're watching the Honda this year, there's something to me very interesting, and I already reported on it earlier, but there is a player that is playing, and his name is Brooks Koepka. We gave him an exemption. He's not a member of the PGA Tour. He's won on the European Tour. He came in third, I believe, last week in Dubai. And he's a world-class player. I think he's only 24, 25 years old. But the interesting thing about Brooks is he played in our Pro-Am set. We sponsor, some of the members of our directors sponsor a foursome for the high school kids to come and play in the Pro-Am on a Monday. So he actually picked, this will be the second time he's playing in the Honda on that course, but the first time was in a Pro-Am where he played, I believe, on the Monday tournament. But this is a kid from here, from Wellington. He went to Cardinal Newman High School, and he's going from playing in our Pro-Am to playing in the Honda Classic. I mean, that is a story you need to watch. And let's wish him the best of luck, because it would be something to see a local. I mean, and he is going to be as competitive as you could be. I mean, he played last week with Rory and McIlroy. I mean, and they were just, you know, he's a player. So I just think when you're watching the tournament, it's just exciting to watch a local kid. He's not a kid anymore. I mean, he's going to be one of the top players. And in fact, I think he moved up to 68, and he may wind up playing in the WGC events because they take the top. I don't know how many, but he was outside of it, but with the players that aren't going to play and so forth. The other thing is that next Thursday we saw Steve Politziner from ESPN Radio, and we all got invited to the Kravis Center next Thursday for a luncheon regarding the bowl game they're going to have at FAU in South County. And they invited us all and the city manager, and they haven't heard a response, so if anybody can make it. You know, these are events that again, highlight Palm Beach County, and even though it's in South County, we need their support for the Honda Classic. And so if anybody is available to go, I am going to rearrange my schedule and go, because at this point, nobody has responded. But it'd be a great event to go to show our support here in North County. Then I have to tell you, last month, as you well know, we had a large crowd in here, and when I was giving my report, I wanted to shorten it, so I didn't report on the North County Economic meeting that I attended. And you were there, right? And this was a meeting we had, and most of the meeting was talking about the water outflows and the problems they're having in Martin County with the quality of the water. And the good thing is now they weren't going to have to release anymore, because now we're in our dry season. Now, whoever attended this meeting last month knows that we got more water, okay, that night than we probably got in I don't know how many months. But it was so funny, Don, as you know, you were there, and we attended the meeting, and we're hearing this presentation about, you know, but it's the dry season, and then the worlds just collided, and it was just so funny, because I'm sitting here, and then later on in the meeting, and I'm hearing the rain, and I'm saying to myself, where did I start out this morning? So it was just a funny story. Anyway, that's all I have.
The good news on that, Joe, is not a lot of that rain fell in the lake, which is what causes the problem. So
Yeah,
if it had been west, he said it had been west, it would have continued to release water.
Went into too many people's houses.
Yeah, that's true too.
I'd just like to thank a couple things. First, the Northern Palm Beach's Rotary Club, Steeplechase, Frenchman's Creek, JCC, part of their lecture series, and PJ National, their annual POA meeting. I gave State of the City addresses to all of them in the last 5 to 6 weeks, so it's good to get out and talk to the different communities. So certainly if you want the mayor to come to your community, I'll be glad to do it and talk about the state of the city a little bit and what's going on. Next, I also attended the Benjamin School groundbreaking for their new Benjamin Hall facility. It's a $12 million facility, which is an 849-seat performing art facility located on their campus, high school campus here in Palm Beach Gardens. It's part of their $40 million capital campaign to build new facilities and solidify their endowment fund to recruit, train, and retain the best faculty. And the keynote speaker there was Tom Rooney, Congressman Tom Rooney, who is a graduate of Benjamin. So it was a pretty special event. It's tremendous to see how that campus in our city is flourishing, and to have a performing arts facility on their campus is very impressive. So hopefully there'll be some events in there in the future. We'll get a chance to see how that campus working out. Over the next couple of months, you're going to see a lot of softball and baseball activity here as our rec programs begin their spring ball. Those are traditionally the big attendance as far as participation. So softball and baseball both open this month. So for the next 2 or 3 months, you'll see a lot of activity on Burns Road in Lake Catherine. So if you want to stop by any night, I'm sure there's plenty of action going on if you want to check out the activities and see our young youth playing their hearts out there. And last is the Historical Society. Their next meeting is on the 12th next week. James Watt is going to be there. He's a former state representative and county commissioner, and he's going to talk a little bit about political history back in the 1980s, I guess when things started moving a little bit around here in the county. So he'll be their speaker, and they've moved their meetings back to the second Wednesday of every month. So put that on your calendar. No more Tuesday nights, it's back to Wednesday nights at their building off of Northlake Boulevard. And, oh, one other thing, I did intend the intergovernmental meeting, which is all the governmental agencies in North County that Commissioner Valashay does on a quarterly basis. And one of the topics there is sober homes, which tends to be an issue that's popping up all over the county and in every municipality. It's not just in certain areas. So I know our lobbyist is on it. I know our staff's on it. I know there's some legislation being proposed, I think, in Tallahassee this upcoming session. So we need to stay on top of that to get some sort of rules and regulations in place for these facilities. I know it's kind of a touchy thing now with the ADA involved and the government agencies, but there's got to be some way to have a legal way to kind of monitor these things and maintain some peace and quiet in the neighborhoods instead of these things popping up. I realize there's a need for these, there's no doubt about it. I'm not trying to discriminate against anybody on it, but I think there's got to be some regulations who can set these up, how they're monitored, and how they're licensed. So hopefully something will get done in Tallahassee this year, and we'll see what happens. And I think that's
He'll be retaining 136 high-paying jobs for the corporate headquarters of Saldinus Insurance right here on PGA Boulevard, and Neil Marin was a big part of keeping him here on the corridor, so we're certainly excited about that. I'll skip all of the history, but our request before you tonight is for a sign so that we can celebrate Saldinus Insurance on PGA Boulevard. We're asking for a waiver to exceed the requirement of 90 square feet. We're proposing 118 square feet, but when you'll see in our graphics, the reason that is because of the uniqueness of their logo with a taller C and a taller I. If you didn't look at the taller C and the taller I, it actually would conform to the requirements. The site, or the location of the sign, will be facing PGA Boulevard. It's right where the red bar is on the site. This is, of course, where also Embassy Suites is here on PGA Boulevard. There is a view of where the sign will be on the top of the Admiralty 2 building. And this is what it will say, Saldinus Insurance, and you can see what it would look like on the top. Well proportioned, consistent with city code. As I pointed out briefly, the total square footage measured by code, which is a total box out, is 118.5 square feet. If you were to look at the C and the I independently, that would actually be right within the 90 square foot of your code. So the applicant is relocating from Northlake Boulevard. They will retain their facilities there for the time being. We'll be retaining 135 high-paying jobs above the median wage here in Palm Beach County. As pointed out by the staff report, and as you can visually see, the sign is well proportioned on the top of the building. It complies with the city's design guidelines concerning the proportions. P&Z recommended approval unanimously, and we would request your approval this evening. If you have any questions, both Mr. Saldinus as well as Mr. Marin are both here in the audience this evening. I wish to welcome them to PGA Boulevard as being a member of the PGA Quarter Association as well.
Thank you. Any questions?
Don, I'm sorry, did you say that he purchased the building?
Yes, actually, Ray and I purchased the building.
Well, congratulations. I wish you would have purchased it sooner, so the bank wouldn't have left.
All things take good time.
We're doing our best to keep cleaning up the street, Joe. You know, I've been there for a long time. So.
That's great, congratulations.
Any other questions, petitioner?
Yeah, Don, it's an irrelevant question to the thing, but the plant that you have on your slide, what is that?
You know, it looks to me like cherry tomatoes, but it could be grapes. I don't know. One of our graphics designers did this for some seasonal variation.
It has absolutely nothing to do with the petition. I'm just
It
kidding.
can be whatever you want it to be.
Okay, let's move on. Staff presentation, do we have anything?
I think the presentation that the applicant made was very thorough. Staff is recommending approval. The only thing that I would like to add is that as part of the waiver justification, the applicant is also providing 4 coconut palms to be planted in the landscape median on the west side of the building. And staff has reviewed that and finds that it's consistent with the waiver criteria, and we are supportive of the waiver.
All right. Any questions of staff? Anybody wishing to speak for or against this item? Seeing none, I'm going to close the public hearing, bring it up to discussion or a vote.
Chairman, move resolution 9, 2014.
Second.
Got a motion in 2 seconds. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Passes 5-0. Ray, congratulations. Thank you for staying in our city. You know, you've been here a long time, and you have a great reputation, a great agency. we're certainly looking forward to seeing that sign on the boulevard, so congratulations, both of you. Thank you.
Welcome. Again.
Next up is Ordinance 5, 2014. Will the clerk read the title?
Ordinance 5, 2014, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Palm Beach Gardens, Florida, rezoning certain real property within the corporate limits of the City of Palm Beach Gardens, consisting of one parcel of real property totaling 1.22 acres in size, more or less, located at the northwest corner of Northlake Boulevard and I-95, to be known as the Unlimited Auto Wash PUD, providing that this parcel of real property, which is more particularly described herein, shall be assigned city zoning designation of planning and development PUD, overlay with an underlying zoning designation of general commercial CG1, providing that the zoning map of the City of Palm Beach Gardens be amended accordingly, providing a conflicts clause, a severability clause, and authority to codify, providing an effective date for the purposes.
Open the public hearing and ask for any ex partes.
Yes, I have one. I received an email from David Carpenter. Just the content said that he was looking forward to seeing me.
Well, if that's the next part, I got the same email.
Yeah, I guess if that's an export tag, I guess I got the same email. The other thing is I got my car washed there. So I don't know what's happening.
You're okay. Okay. Same with me. Okay, we're all the same. Okay, sir. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. Thank you for the opportunity to be here. David Carpenter. I'm a landscape architect in West Palm Beach. And the reason that we're here tonight is that you probably noticed, Mr. Russo, when you were there. The service station was built in like 1990, and when, the garden's population, of course, was a lot less than it is today, and the station has become very popular because of their hand wash that they offer, and what is happening is, is we have one lane here, which is the service lane going into the wash, and because there's so many customers, it's backing up into the driveway area here of the service station. So what we're proposing in this application is to provide another lane with an additional canopy in the back that you see here, which will allow us to service the people in line quicker and will eliminate this line that's here. In other words, when the cars get up to this point, that one can go straight ahead here and the other one can go straight ahead over here. So that is going to eliminate the backup that's occurring into the station, into the travel area. What we're proposing, this shows the elevation. None of the improvements that we're proposing are visible from the street. The canopy that we're proposing is right here, and the existing building and canopy is here, so the canopy we're proposing is directly behind, and this is the street elevation, the existing canopy, so there's no visibility from the street. And we're providing an 8-foot tall hedge here on the property line, which abuts the parking lot. As you know, the ABC Liquor and the hotel are to the north. So, but right here to the north of the site, there's nothing but as I'm sure you know, a big open parking lot. And this shows the row of hedge that we'll be proposing, the 8-foot tall hedge. This is the parking lot that's here. The hotel, which is on their parking lot on this side, they have landscaping, in addition to what we're proposing. And the hotel area, this is all, as you know, a huge parking lot. And the hotel entrance is actually on the north side of their building, and it's nowhere near the car wash. Also, as part of the proposal that we're showing, we're doing streetscape improvements, and we've already contacted the county and FDOT related to our streetscape improvements, and we'll have to make application to both FDOT and the county in order to do that plan. By allowing this canopy and so forth back here, you know, this is on a major roadway, which traffic coming right off of here, it services all the people in the gardens without taking traffic into the, like you were talking about before, military trail, and, you know, will greatly enhance the service capability to the citizens here. And none of the improvements, like I was saying, are visible from the roadway. So the only thing that'll happen is the service will be enhanced. So that's what we're proposing.
Okay. Any questions?
Yeah, I have one question. How do you, if you're going to double your capacity on the wash side, how are you going to manage the dry side? Because when they pull out of there now, they're parked all the way over here. You're not expanding any of that space. How do you plan on taking care of all the extra cars?
Well, the extra car, I mean, we have, you know, the personnel to take care of the cars and the stacking that occurs right over in here. So we don't expect a problem with that at all.
Well, the only
I haven't been sworn. My name's Eddie Dalton.
Okay, can you get him sworn in, please?
Sorry.
Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do. Sure. My name's Eddie Dalton. I'm the owner's brother. I'm also general manager of this company. He's not here tonight. He's sick. Apologize for his absence. He's missed a day of work today, which is extremely unusual. The answer to that question is we will be adding staff to our, we right now have 16 to 18 staff members on the drying, washing capacity of the station, and we'll be adding staff to that to handle the extra cars coming through.
Okay, the only thing I'm gonna, as you know, that's an issue I have. The only thing I'm gonna say, as you well know, you can control what cars come out of there. You know what I'm saying? And the only thing I'm gonna look to see, and again, as far as your management plan, that, you know, that if you have, let's say, all your staff don't come in one day, well, you just don't move the cars out there, because you just gotta be careful that you don't have too many cars there waiting to be dried and the craziness. That's all
I certainly understand that, and that would be a problem with any business if the staff didn't come in, but we would have consideration with other staff members available on call.
Right, but you can control the amount of cars that come out of there. I mean,
Absolutely.
If you don't have enough staff, you can shut down a lane. I mean,
Absolutely.
in theory.
That's all I'm saying. As long as you properly manage it, you'll be fine.
Yes.
And so forth.
But keep in mind, it's much better an issue to have the car stacked up on this side, the north side, than walking.
Yeah, no, I agree.
into Northlake
I agree, but
Boulevard.
now you
Because
know,
that's what's happening now.
you know, I agree, but, and I'll tell you something, and I never used to go to the car wash, because it was easier for me to wash the car, that's how long it used to take. But with all the people you have there now, they're really quick and they do a good job and so forth. And
We appreciate it. Thank you.
it's you know, really good. And so obviously this can work a lot better. And as you well know, in the winter you're so busy and so forth. So it's just.
Well, Kevin is the most passionate person I know about this business, so we appreciate your support.
And just to let you know, he's there, you know, all the time, and he makes sure that the cars are moving.
Right.
I mean, he's an on-site manager.
Well, I've seen him there before.
Yeah.
So.
All right, any other questions?
Yeah, unfortunately.
Now, do we want to do a staff report before your environmental question?
Does the staff report have environmental issues in it?
Let's wait for your question. I know your question is going to be something with retainage, water, something. So let's go ahead and get the staff report, please. You guys can sit down. Thank you. Appreciate it. Retention. I'm thinking construction loans are. I'm in the banking business.
Smart retention, but that's more smart.
Good evening again. My name is Tomasz Berman for the record with Planning and Zoning City of Palm Beach Gardens. Just to briefly go through this presentation with you, and I have been sworn in. In addition to the site plan approval process that Mr. Carpenter reviewed, the applicant is also requesting to rezone the site. It is currently CG2 or intensive commercial. The applicant is proposing to rezone the site to a planned unit development or PUD overlay with CG1 or general commercial underlying zoning designation. The proposed zoning designations are compatible with the surrounding uses, and gas stations and car washes are permitted as minor conditional uses. Mr. Carpenter has reviewed the canopy structure and the fact that there will be rotary beautification along Northlake Boulevard. The applicant is also proposing some signage, and many board sign and canopy signs. These are permitted by code. I'm sorry, let me just quickly review the parking. In addition to that, right now, the number of parking spaces that are on site today, it is a legal nonconformity. The applicant is improving the situation by reducing that nonconformity by 1 space. For the canopy structure, the applicant is requesting for a waiver, which is to allow the rear setback for the canopy structure to encroach into it by 7 feet. The requirement is 15 feet. The proposal is 8 feet. And the justification that was provided for this is the fact that the canopy structure is not a permanent structure. It can be easily removed. It is not a building. They're also proposing a clusia hedge that exceeds the code requirement. It is proposed to be 8 feet tall and 6 feet wide, and this will provide an opaque buffer to the property to the north. In addition, there's commercial property to the north, which is the Inn of America. It is not residential, so this won't be a nuisance situation with the residential neighborhood. In addition, as Mr. Carpenter has reviewed, this will provide for increasing stacking distance on site. I have some pictures to show what the existing conditions are like. This is some ground-mounted equipment. With this petition, it will be screened and located along the north property line. This is the area here. This is where the additional canopy structure, car wash lane, and the clusia hedge will be located. So it will be a net improvement to the site. This fence right here, this wooden fence, this will also go away. So this petition will clean up this site. And based on this, we're recommending approval.
Now, do we have any questions of staff?
Are they going to be washing cars under the canopy?
Yes.
And they'll be using water in the washing process?
Yes.
Is the area have a drain that's going to lead to a recycling system as required by DEP rules and regulations?
Yes, it will be. Our city engineer has reviewed it, Seacoast has reviewed it, and there's a condition that requires them to follow all EPA standards and DP standards also.
Okay. Are you associated with the gas station at all?
Yes.
Okay. Did you get your tanks replaced in 2009? Okay, good. So, because I won't want to do this and then do a tank replacement. That would be a mess. And the last and final question is, this is a temporary structure, so that if there is a hurricane coming, it will be removed.
Please go up to the mic, please, if you don't mind. Thank you.
We can remove the structure, we'll be trained to remove the structure, but a professional company will replace the structure after the hurricane.
Okay.
Staff has also included a condition of approval, condition 5, that requires 24 hours in advance of a tropical storm or hurricane by the National Hurricane Center, which is their standard condition of approval, which places the city within a 3-day cone of probability the canopy needs to be removed. So we can enforce the mechanisms to ensure that.
I knew all that. I just asked us to get it on the record, so.
I knew all that too.
You guys are hurt.
Yes. But that would be an ex parte, so.
Any other questions of the petitioner or staff? Anybody wishing to speak for or against this item? Seeing none, I'm going to close the public hearing, bring it back up for discussion or a vote.
Mr. Chairman, move ordinance 5, 2014 on first reading.
Second.
Motion second, all in favor say aye. Aye. Passes 5-0. Thank you for being here tonight.
Thank you all very much.
Next up, resolutions. I see none. Moving on to items for council action discussion. 40th Terrace and Sunset Drive infrastructure improvements. Survey, update, and discussion, please.
Thank you.
Good evening, Council. Todd Engel, City Engineer, here with an update on our 40 Terrace Sunset Drive second petition. As you're aware, we completed the design and the overall cost for the project, and we initiated our second petition. The petition went out. Petition went out on January 2nd, and the major difference between the first petition and the second petition that we had to combine the two projects based on the water loop requirements and the lift station requirements of Seacoast Utilities, so we really couldn't build one without the other, so we combined the two projects, Sunset and 48 Terrace, and sent out those as one project. To date, we received 30 responses of the 63 property owners. That represents about 48% of the property owners. We have 4 yeses for all the improvements associated with the project. We have 7 write-ins of water only. They were for the project, but only wanted the water only, didn't want the sewer or road aspect of the project. And there were 9 no's to the project. Our first petition that we did receive 39 out of the 63 property owners, which represented 62%, and that took about 3 months for us to get that 62%. Currently, right now, we're at 48%, but we just reached the 1 month mark on the project. So, yeah, there's a graphical representation on the screen there. The greens are yes all the way, the blues are water only, and the reds are no for the improvements of the project. If you note, the top 5 units are owned by a trust, and those units already have water that were associated with what was done, the improvements that were done with the dive shop that required to bring water to the edge of the property. So they already have water on the property, so just a little back there. But where we are on the project is we've done the design and permitting and cost. We completed the first petition. We are in the second permitting process right now. We only have 48%. And then once you direct us to, we will go on with the public meeting, and then completion of that, we'll have a public hearing in association with our neighborhood improvement assessment program. Any questions?
Especially.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Todd, would you explain about the 2 group homes in the area who have not responded yet?
Yes, we do have 7 properties that represent 2 group homes that are associated with the area. They require board action, and that board has not taken action yet to get responses back from them, so that's 7 right there that gets us well over the 50% mark. So we do expect some other responses back. There's been some change in property owners. They're listed as like Sunset LLC and 40th LLC. We're locating those property owners and getting the questionnaire over to them as well.
And do you feel that if you were given some more time, you could probably get up to the 48% or more, 62% or more from the 48?
Yes, between the homes and the new property owners.
Did those other properties vote last time? The 7 that we're talking about that need
Yes,
association
they
approval?
did.
They did.
Yes, they did. And again, we've only given them a month, and it does require their board to act on it. And their board, I guess, has not made the action. We have not received this card back yet.
And the properties that are the, what is it, 7 or
Top right.
5, the top left side of the graphic that you're showing?
These here are the 5
Those,
properties.
that's all one owner, correct?
That's one owner. It's a
So,
trust who owns those properties.
We could probably contact them and see if they want to do a unity of title and then have that piece of property, because maybe that's the reason that they're not wanting the improvements. So maybe if we suggest that, they might not know that they can do that. Maybe that's something that would make them a yes in this scenario, possibly. Just throw that out there, but that's just a thought.
We can have that discussion with them, or we can have that discussion with them
At the workshop.
At the workshop.
Right.
Well, Todd, on those properties too, since they're at the end of the route, I know you have to loop it, can they be left out?
These properties here?
Yes.
They are, currently right now, they're only served by 1 meter. Seacoast would require them to go 5 meters at a minimum,
Which is why
because
it's
they
not
represent 5 parcels. And they would have to pay their fair share for the water line and foot or sewer line in front of their property. They would have to pay their fair share.
What I'm saying is not run the line that far up. Says they're at the end of the line.
The problem is one of our water loops comes from this.
That's what I thought. I just wanted to confirm that. Okay.
And then
5
also-
individual meters, so.
Right, and then also, that they're this owner today, but, you know, in a year from now, it could be a different owner that wants the water, so they can tie it in the future.
Then they would pay for that.
Correct, so it's probably not good to do that.
And do we have accurate data as far as numbers to contact these other ones that have not responded? If
We are
understand?
trying to get as accurate as data as we can. Some of the properties changed hands, some of the people we just simply can't contact because they currently cannot be contacted.
I think we need to make every effort to get a hold of somebody.
Yes,
And, you know, and
we're doing that, and we're updating the Property Owners Association.
send out another card, a second notice,
Yep.
and then we wait for those 7 to come back from the associations, and then we have a 70% poll, and I think that's the number that's, might be acceptable for us to make a decision and then have a workshop and determine what we want to do. The 48 is not a good number.
Maybe what we do is we schedule the workshop, but schedule it in enough time so we can allow for the additional people to have enough time to respond. And, you know, we can schedule it in enough time, maybe in a month or so, so that at least we can get, or maybe 2 months, whatever the case may be, whatever the council feels necessary, but enough time that you guys feel would be enough time to give these people some more time to respond, and also our staff to contact them, get the appropriate number of
It
times.
doesn't take long to set up a workshop, and that's easy, so I mean,
Let's put
let
it
them get more, and then we'll set it up. You know,
That's
it's not
fine.
long to set up, it's not like when we decide, like, right now, we're gonna decide we're gonna have a workshop. You do it within the next
Yeah, and that's
3
fine,
weeks.
I'm good with that too, I just want to make sure we get enough time for staff and also for these people to respond.
Yeah, but I'd say if you send out a second notice and you tell them, in addition to that, we're going to have a workshop on March 21st or whatever, then at least they respond on the card and we have a workshop date, and I think that's what you're saying.
Right, that's
And
what
I
I'm
agree
saying.
with that.
Yeah,
I mean, give us some closure on it. If they don't respond on the card, they know a workshop's coming, there's nothing we can do about it if they don't want to respond or come to the workshop. But the ones who want to, we've got a date set up, it's on the next secondary card that comes out, they either vote, not vote, and then come to the workshop. I mean, I think that's the next progression that I would like to do too. We need to get some closure, so we need to move this along and get this hopping. So I agree with the second notice, try to contact the people who have not responded, and then come up with a workshop date now, and then let the people know that date ahead of time so we can get as much participation as we can. So,
Do you want us to set up that workshop now or bring that back to you at the next council meeting?
no, I think we need to kind of set a date in the next week and get it back to us.
not a date for the next week,
Right,
a
right.
date for a time in the future.
Do we need a council vote?
We don't meet for another month.
No, I'm-
Just let them do it, if that's what you want.
Right. I think we set up a workshop for the end of March.
You gotta set it up for April. You can't set it up for the end of March. You don't know, you're not gonna have a sworn-in council. We have an election on March 11th, so the council people, whoever they are, won't get sworn in until the first meeting in April.
Right, but it's just an open workshop. We're not voting on anything. They're just getting information. Would come back to us in an April or May meeting for a decision. Does it really matter? I mean, am I out of line there on the dates?
No, you're not out of line at all. Do whatever you want. Staff is basically asking for additional time to get additional surveys in. We don't, and before you set a workshop, you're going to have to decide whether you want a workshop or not based on the results that come back in. And it would concern me if you set up a workshop and you don't get the results in, and that justifies moving forward with a workshop. I hope we do get the results in that would justify that. But we could set up a workshop at the next council meeting. You could give us a target date, or we could give you some target dates, but there again, you have an election on the 11th, so.
You know, I know, Bert, you're trying to, I know you're frustrated, it's taking a long time, but you know, to me, it's more important to get it done the right way, because we need this to go forward. It's better for them, and I think we're better off spending an extra 30 days or whatever, like Ron said, come back to the next meeting, and I'd rather wait that a little bit to be sure, because this has to happen for them. You know, this is something that needs to be done, so.
I'm in total agreement with you, Joe, and I do want to have the time so that people have time to respond. So I'm okay with, at the next meeting, let's set a date for the workshop. Let's see what we get back by the next meeting, and then set a date for the workshop at that meeting in March. Let's at least give another month to see what it would be wonderful to have a few more
Track us
response
down,
times.
we want to get a bigger response than 48%.
Yeah.
And I think we've talked about it for the last year on these things, is we're looking for 70, 80% participation, yes or no vote at all. At least we have the contact made, and then we'll have enough data to do a workshop, and then make a recommendation at that point and try to get this thing moving.
All right, we'll bring the results back to the next council meeting.
Thank you.
All right? Everybody agree with that? Thank you. I don't see anything else on the council action. City attorney report? Motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Oh, sorry, hold on.
Sorry, I did have something there. Sorry about that.
Sorry, David, withdraw your motion, please.
I withdraw my motion too.
Thank you. Marcy, go ahead.
This is, we actually heard this month that Eric's going to be attending the MPO hearing. I'd like to know if we can do anything as a council to help you in regards to the MPO meeting, which is going to be talking about the flyover, the Beeline flyover. I'd like to propose that we prepare a resolution, which is something similar to what David was talking about, for Eric to bring to the meeting in regards to the flyover, depicting our opposition because of the fact that it's, obviously opened the door for Western growth. However, we can't prepare a resolution in time for your meeting, so what I would like to do is see if we could, if we unanimously agree, just authorize Eric to verbally express the council's unanimous opposition to the Beeline flyover at the next MPO meeting that you're going to be attending, and then give staff time, our city manager staff time to formally create a resolution to where it could be put on the agenda for a ratification possibly in March. I don't want to encourage the growth that you're talking about. We hear about traffic, and there's a lot of talk back and forth with CJ National in regards to this. So definitely don't want to encourage the western growth, but do want to encourage proper buffering similar to what DOT did for neighborhoods next to the turnpike, in the past. So.
Sorry, I'm not understanding. What you're saying is that you don't want them to do it, but if they do it, they have to buffer?
Well, I'm saying I would want the council to ratify a resolution opposing it.
Yeah, I would move that Eric, our vice mayor, be authorized to lodge the objection that we've so voiced before on this council at the NPO meeting. Okay, very simple.
Everybody okay with that?
Just the amendment to that, to the Beeline flyover.
Yes, the Beeline flyover.
Flyover.
Yeah, I want that part of the motion.
Correct.
Second that motion.
Correct.
Second the motion.
And that's on the 20th.
Question.
Yes.
Do you want to formalize so that you can have a formal resolution at the next meeting to authorize that to go into the MPO official record?
Yeah, but
Something in writing.
I want the resolution at the next meeting to go more than the NPO. I want it to go to elected officials, state, or
So you do-
everybody.
You do want a resolution
DOT is.
moralizing your actions.
And I'd like to have some work be done to justify, if we can do the resolution, to justify why we're asking for it. I mean, I think just to say we're opposed to it, not say why we're opposed to it, or to say that Western development, I think there's really good reasons why it shouldn't be done. And I think that's where we need to lay out in the resolution. Right.
Yes, and we'll reference smart road,
And Joe, you're absolutely right. Eric, correct me if I'm wrong, that road has some type of special designation as an immediately important corridor
for transportation, truck transportation from east to west, connecting the two ports, Tampa and Port of Palm Beach. Yes, it does, and it's a state initiative. They are widening the Beeline to the north and to the south in order to do that. But what they want to do is basically fly over that so that it is not interrupted traffic on Northlake Road.
Is it,
Mostly, the train traffic as well. There's a lot of train traffic there too. Just like we have.
CSX tracks.
Yeah, CSX tracks, just like the FEC tracks.
Is it wrong to say, because, I used to go to Tampa quite a lot, but I stopped using 710 to State Road 70 because 70's in such bad shape. And now I think most trucks, most people now use the turnpike to State Road 60, which is a better route to get to the port of Tampa, which, if you know, Tampa's on the west, it's on the east side of Tampa, near Ybor City, off of 22nd Street is where the main port is.
There are sections of 710 that are only 2 lane,
Yeah.
which make it like the old Alligator Alley. It's just...
I don't know if that should be part of our justification to say that that's a better route, and therefore this is unnecessary. I don't know. Maybe it's something staff can look into.
Well, that portion of the track, that portion of the road will be, is part of this plan, but the flyover is an urban interchange because of the amount of traffic that this is going to generate across Northlake Boulevard. But I personally don't feel it's necessary. I really don't. I think that they can still widen the 2 lane to 4 lane and create what they want to achieve. At grade.
Right.
Yeah, something else too is that we now have a gas pipeline that goes to the Martin Power Plant, whereas before they used Bunker C and that was trucked there. So that should have taken a lot of the road, traffic off the road when that power plant conversion was done.
So we can justify our decision to not do it.
All right, Marcy, do you want to make a motion?
Yeah.
I think Joe made
You have a motion written?
As it's been said.
Joe made the motion,
I
you
seconded
seconded it.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Passes
Thank you
5-0.
very much, I appreciate it.
No, thank you, Marcy, thank you for bringing it up, that was excellent.
Great.
All right,
I'm glad you brought it up.
I got a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
2 motions, 2 seconds. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Passes 5-0. Good night.